podcast.
Bring your friends.
All right, and we're live. Live on the Rico podcast with myself, Rico. Eric is out today. He has a couple things that he has to run and having some car issues, but we love Eric. Eric's awesome. And an amazing guest today, as always, Mr. Pat Marone, who works as a comedian, a chef. This guy does it. This guy does everything, man. This guy's always busy. This guy, he if people say they work 24 hours a day, this dude works 48 hours in a day. Like, it's wild to me the amount of things you do in a day.
I keep myself busy, but it's a pleasure being on the show. Thank you, Rico.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing this, man. It's I always love when I have comics, especially from New York, because the comics from New York, man, I envy you guys. Not envy. Envy's not the right word. I I'm so happy for you guys because it's like you guys are in the mecca of like where comedy is, SNL and all these other guys. Like, do you ever feel like when you're in New York walking around, you take a moment, you're like, "Fuck yeah, we're here."
Yeah, no, I love I love being in New York. Since the pandemic, I haven't been in it much, but when you're there, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it really is. It's
You grew up over there?
I grew up on Long Island. I grew up on Long
Oh,
Island.
okay.
Yeah,
Long
yeah.
Island is all right. So educate my brown ass. Long Island is that's the
It's I guess suburbs, whatever you want to call it. It's like Long Island's the end out to the water. We have Montauk Point, and all that. You have the Hamptons, and then you move inland. I'm like in the middle. I'm in West Babylon, but Nassau County, Suffolk County. But it's all surrounded by a body of water. What Manhattan is too. But and then you have the Queens. You got Brooklyn, the Bronx, Staten Island. We call Staten Italy. We we
at
call
Italy, really?
yeah, we joke around. A lot of Italians in Italy. I mean, in Staten Island. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So,
shit. There's a part in New York that's called El Barrio, which is
but,
basically like a Puerto Rican community that's been
oh
there
yeah,
since
what community is that?
El Barrio. Hold on, it's Dios mío, El Barrio, New York. I wanna hold
I
on.
mean, we have a lot of Latin communities in New York. I
East
mean,
Harlem, East Harlem. It's
okay, East
yeah. I
Harlem. Yeah,
just
we
texted
used to
Adam
call
Gable.
we used to call it Spanish Harlem years ago. Spanish.
Ah,
Spanish.
okay. I have a friend named Gary G that
I
he
guess
grew up.
that's the new Spanish Harlem.
I I don't know, but that's what everybody. And again, I'm only 35. Like I'm a young buck. So like I'm just regurgitating shit that I've heard. I haven't
Yeah,
been down there, but I heard that if you go down there, there's a lot of Puerto Rican flags. So that's how you know, man.
yeah. There's a lot of, and then you had you guys used to take numbers down there. You had yeah, and then you have Harlem's pretty big. They fixed up Harlem good, but that I think what the neighborhood you're talking about, they used to call it my day Spanish Harlem. So I guess they
Spanish
just
Harlem, yeah.
yeah.
I used to live in East Boston for a little bit, and I didn't know that that was an entirely like when I was there in 2014 and 15. That's all Spanish. Like
Oh, in
all
East
of
Boston,
East,
okay. And I
yeah,
guess
East Boston.
South Boston's all Irish, right? Yeah, South Boston.
Yeah, south is all the Irish, and then to get to east, you have to go through the tunnel. I think it is. It's like a little tunnel, and
Yeah, I
it was
never
like,
been to Boston. I'd like to go there, but I've never been to Boston. No.
dude, Boston has amazing comedy, like amazing. I mean, Bill Burr comes from, he grew up there, I think, right? His comedy was from
Yeah,
there, if I'm
Bill
not
Burr.
mistaken.
I
Yeah.
could tell you later. I got a funny story about Bill Burr. But, I
Oh
mean, if you want
man.
to hear it now, I could tell you about it now. But
Hell yeah, go ahead, bro.
well, I never met Bill Burr, and I have like I said, I'm a chef, so I have a Sunday sauce video on YouTube, and Bill Burr must have came across it, and he was watching my video. It's a 23-minute video. We did it in the house with my buddies, and we made a Sunday sauce. Sunday sauce is like uh, sauce with Italian sauce with meatballs, sausage, and meat, and some people call it gravy or sauce. So we're making a video on that, and Bill Burr apparently on his Monday podcast starts talking about my video. Now I don't know it until I see the comments. I actually have a tape. They put it on my Facebook page. So I get all these comments on YouTube. Yeah, Bill Burr sent me here. I'm like, all right, who's playing a joke on me? Bill Burr sent you here. And I got all these people. Yeah, Bill's right. This is a great, a great song. I'm like, holy shit. So it was like on Redid, but it was on the Bill Burr Monday morning podcast. And he's talking about this thing because I say how you doing a lot in there. My friend said, I'd say how you doing. You say it all the time. And he's talking about that. He's talking about my buddies, my old time guys, my older friends with the corny jokes. And he's not like, he watched this whole video and he talked about the whole video and he was funny about it, and he
Yeah.
said he was on a diet. When he comes off his diet, he's going to make a sauce like that. So it was like so cool to have like Bill Burr, big time, comedian, talk about, and I never even met him. So, that was
I
pretty cool.
I've always wanted to meet him because, and it's hard. I'm sure someone has the answer, but it's like really hard to like keep up with all the people that you see in comedy. And we did a show with Kevin Farley,
Uh-huh.
Chris Farley's brother, and Kevin and Mr. Kevin actually, because we're not homies like that. Mr. Kevin and Mr. Burr are like really close friends. And we were
Uh-huh.
smoking cigars with Kevin Farley, and Kevin Farley starts telling us stories
Uh-huh.
about it. And he was telling us that when he was filming like specials and stuff like that, he went to Farley's wedding. Like after filming a special, like he literally did the special, didn't hang out, went straight back to the wedding to
No
hang out.
shit. Wow.
Dude, yeah, and Kevin Farley was telling us stories about him, and I was like, yeah, he strikes me as the type of guy that like he's hard and whatnot, but by God, that dude's probably like a real homie. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a
Oh
true
yeah,
homie.
I'm sure. I'm sure he is. I know some people that met him by the Comedy Cellar and stuff. Said he in the street when guys out in the street comics around there, and he said he was a terrific guy. Kevin Farley, my friend worked with Kevin Farley. He said he was a great guy too. My
Kevin's
friend was actually emceeing the show, and he's going to call Kevin Farley up, and he's in the bathroom taking a shit. He's waiting for him to get on stage. He's going, "Where is this guy?"
bro, you gotta hate when that happens, or when someone's out in the back finishing a cigarette or something, and they're like, "Where the fuck is so?" Just keep telling jokes, dude. Oh
Yeah.
God, I've never had that happen. I had someone one time show up like 2 minutes late, so we
Uh-huh.
kind of were like, I was like, I started talking about the show. You know how it is. Like I like to host, and it's been about a month since I've gone and done a mic, so I feel like I'm disappointing my comedian friends, but priorities. And
Right,
man, I
right.
tell you what, I love hosting. Hosting is like the number one thing that I love
Yeah,
doing because
it's
you
great.
got
That's how you build. When you start out, I tell people when I first started out, I just like anybody wanted me to host. I took hosting jobs. People knew I was willing to host. That's how I got a lot of gigs because I don't care. I'll host. A lot of people are afraid they don't want to be the first. When I do a show, wherever the producer puts me up, I go up. So, but I got a lot of my gigs from just hosting, and I took anything. I take it to now to this day. You want me to host? I'll host. I don't care.
Yeah, and even like I don't know if you've ever seen This Is Happening. It's like a comedy. I think it was filmed in like a strip club or something. It was ran by Ari Shafir for a little while, and then it was by Mr. Roy Wood Jr., which funny story, I posted. You ever heard of Roy Wood Jr.? He's on the Daily Show, I think, or yeah, he's on the Daily Show,
Uh-huh.
and he posted this video of him interviewing a cop, and in the video he goes, "Are the police biased?" And the cop goes, "Yeah, we have bias training." And Redwood Jr. goes, "Got him, got him." And he starts pulling out his phone. He goes, "I'm calling all the black people. I'm posting it on Black Twitter." So I made a thing about it. I made a clip on TikTok, and I said, I held the camera and I go, "I knew it. I knew it. I'm gonna tell all my Puerto Rican friends to take their flags down." And I was just like sitting there, post it. I I post it, and I one thing I've learned with the algorithm is you got to post everywhere. If you post everywhere, that's how magic happens. And on Facebook, I got a message of
Uh-huh.
someone saying, that's a pretty mean thing to say from coming from a white person. Like they messaged me this,
Oh my god.
and I kind of just had to pause for a minute and like look at the message. And man, uh I don't promote negativity and bullshit, but that was just so funny to me that they messaged me that.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
showed
yeah.
it to a couple of my friends, and they're like, "Bro, but you are white. You look so fucking white," and you blame the guy. And I was like, "Yep, that's
But isn't
friends for you right there."
it sad that people have nothing better to do than just like inbox negativity or something like this? People can't just mind their own business.
Yeah, and like, see, and that, but see, that's the problem. People don't understand what minding their own business is. I think that that's the big problem, man. Because like,
Well,
I'm
social media did that. Everybody thinks they have a voice now. I mean, it's like, everybody's an expert on politics now. Everybody's an expert on everything, and it's like, get out of here. I mean, people ask me about politics. I might have my opinions. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I mean, I have my own view, but I couldn't get into an argument about politics with somebody. What the fuck do I know?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
That I feel the same way. I actually, this is a funny story. Most people don't know this about me. I've never really voted.
Oh, really?
No, because one of the problems that I have, and I've had this conversation with Eric before, my co-host, where he's actually like confronting me. He's like, "Why? Like you went to war, you did this," and I said to him, I go, "Because there's so much happening that I would have to take so much time to sit down, look at the issues, look at what this person's doing, look at what they're saying is truthful and analyze it, and then go make the decision and then see if this person's gonna go through." And to me, man, like once you get to that Oval Office, I feel like I wish one day we will do a documentary where we'll follow a president after they get sworn in and just see raw and unfiltered like everything they have to do. Because you look at all these dudes that go and they come out and they just look like dog shit.
Yeah. Well, look at Obama. He looked young as soon as he went in. he looked like
Oh yeah, after 8 years, I saw that picture, bro.
he looked like
But
George
Obama,
Jefferson when he got out. He got like so old looking.
Obama also stopped smoking before he went but when he was like a representative or something like that, I can't remember what it was. It was like a senator or something. He smoked cigarettes, and when he was running, I had him to show this woman that interviewed him, and I can't remember her name. And she told him, she said, "Do you want to smoke? Do you feel like smoking?" He goes, "Oh my God, is it that obvious?" She goes, "I can smell the nicotine from here." And apparently he stopped. Like apparently he
Wow.
stopped after that interview.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
dude.
see the way you got to see the way all these presidents age. But I
You
agree with
push.
you what you're saying about the voting thing. Like I
Mhm.
said that the other day. I said when you were on the voting thing, do people really actually know every candidate they're voting for? They're just picking a party. You really don't know who you're voting for. I mean, if I took a poll with everybody to actually know everybody on that ballot, it's a bunch of bullshit because we don't know who half these people are. You're just going, oh, I'm a Democrat. No, I just hit all Democrat. I mean, the guy could have been a child molester. You wouldn't know. You just vote for him because he's a Democrat. You know.
Well, my favorite. I was watching this interview on a podcast of a guy that used to have a brothel up in New York,
Uh-huh.
and there was I think it was a governor or a major or something that ended up like setting the guy up and all this other stuff, and then the guy ended up revealing that person, that politician, was like sleeping with one of the girls. It was a mess.
It
I'm
was probably
probably
Spitzer. Spitzer got. He was a governor. He got caught in um he had to step down. He got caught with
see
prostitutes.
if I
No,
see a
no, he was a district attorney. I think he was attorney general. I know he was governor. No, he was the governor, but he was an attorney general once. And the biggest thing was he used to bust all the prostitutes. That was his pet peeve. He would bust all brothels down, prostitutes, and then it
yeah.
turned out he got caught with him. I'm like, what a hypocrite! You're out there busting all these broads, and then you're over there using them.
Well,
It was.
bro, you got to keep. Well, Pat, how dare you? How else am I going to keep all the hosts for myself?
Yeah, I'm saying maybe that's exactly what he must have done. I mean, holy shit! Like you hypocritical bastard.
Dude, I love when I see shit like that. Like I
Yeah,
love it because it's like, oh, your true colors are showing.
yeah.
And
Well,
it's like
how corrupt all these politicians are. I mean, it's like really. I mean, like I said, you really don't know who you're voting for. It's a crapshoot.
it's hard, man. And like I know that not a lot of people agree with that, but to me, it's like it's so. And like someone's like, well, it's your duty and this and that. I'm like, bro, it's not my duty. If it was my fucking duty, I would be obligated to do that. I have other responsibilities that and duties that really.
I don't know how it is in Missouri, but New York is predominantly Democrat. Now, if you like a Republican candidate, You don't got a chance in hell for them to get voted in.
Missouri, I'll tell you how it is in Missouri. Everybody has a gun.
You know. Hey,
That's it.
listen,
Yeah.
I listen. The gun laws, not that we want to, you have to get, but the gun laws, I have no problem with that because you know why? Because if you take away all the guns from the good guys, the bad guys get them all the time anyway.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's people are not killing people with a registered pistol. They're getting a pistol from the street. They're not killing somebody with their gun that they bought at a gun store. You know,
The
so
problem I the problem I also see with the whole gun thing, like I wish there was more training on it because there's a lot of I wish the states would have more training on it, or not even the states. Let me rephrase that. I wish people would go get more training, man.
I
Like I
agree
really
with you. That's
do.
that is at least half the people that buy gun, not half, most of the people that buy gun is like voting. They don't even probably know how to use it. I got it in
Yeah,
the
they don't
house.
need
Something happens. Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull it out. And then they're gonna shake like this. And go, what are we gonna do with it? And they're shooting themselves with it.
my
You know,
favorite thing is
it's great.
I
But
had
if you took all the guns away from everybody, and then how are they going to protect themselves? That was the reason for people for the right to bear arms is to protect yourself.
well, we have hands, bro. You bear arms. We just need
Yeah.
bare arms to protect ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
You
I
know,
had someone tell me that one day. I was like, what if that's what they meant? What if they were just looking at a pair? And I think that's a Family Guy
is it they
skit.
protect the president with bare arms? They're all carrying.
Bro, could you imagine if like Secret Service was just had like genetically modified bear arms? That would be terrifying. Because
Yeah,
I don't know. Did you see the two wrestlers that got was it two? No, there was like a few wrestlers that were out hiking or something, and a bear attacked them, and they fucking like fought the bear off and shit like that. I don't know
really?
if you saw
I
that,
didn't see that.
dude. Yeah, it was a group of kids. Let me see here. It was in Wyoming. Wrestler fights off grizzly bear with his bare hands.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Bro,
Grizzly bear.
dude, you know that that kid's gonna go to the bar and just
Yeah,
pick up every single chicken there. It's like when you come back from deployment and all of a sudden you're a special forces Delta underwater sniper. When you come
yeah,
back from deployment and nobody's questioning shit because they know you haven't gotten any in months. Everybody's
yeah,
just like, ah, whatever, have at it, kid.
yeah.
Oh, dude. Is wild to me, man. Is crazy. And the other thing to me is like this is another reason why I normally avoid the political conversation with people unless it's in like a manner like how we're doing it, you know, is because people get like a little wild, man. And like sometimes people
Yeah,
don't want to have a conversation. They
yeah.
just want to say something.
Yeah, they're preaching. They're like
Yeah.
it's almost like religion. Like you're gonna go to like they go to door to preach. Get away from me. You know. I will tell them I respect your beliefs, but you don't have to preach to me. You know, and that's
Yeah.
what happens when you get into a political conversation with people. They're like, "Oh no, you don't understand. No, you fucking don't understand. What you tell me? I don't understand." So everybody, and then you think they're going to change your point of view. You're not changing anybody's point of view. It's just
Mhm.
not happening. Not happening. It's crazy. I mean,
It's one of those things like there's three things that I always say I avoid getting deep into, and it's religion, politics, and sports. Cause
well, I think it's so terrific, like how people really like the people who run in Florida. I mean, Florida. I come from Mar-a-Lago, which blue. Let me tell you, Rico, I love the Puerto Rican people. I mean, you guys are terrific over there. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, I helped you guys with the hurricane, but nobody gave me credit. But you guys are unbelievable, Rico, and you got a great podcast. One of the best. Quite frankly, you're one of the best podcasts around. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, you got me on. I mean, come on. I mean, really. I mean, you got me on. Quite frankly, you got me on. You got the best. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, Rico, I don't know what your co-host is. I mean, he must be a Democrat. He probably didn't want to come on. You know, he
oh
knew
my
I was
god, he would
coming on.
die. Dude, did you see the video of him throw of Mr. Trump throwing like the bounties at people? Like trying to
No, no.
Kobe that like Kobe just out of nowhere. I will tell
Uh,
you this though. The one thing that happened that a lot of people don't know about that about all the stuff that the US sent is that a lot of that stuff was hidden. I don't know if you knew
really?
about. Dude, yeah. One of the things that happened in Puerto Rico was after I believe it was Maria, the one who like
Yeah, yeah, the
really.
bad one. Well, they had another bad one recently, but that was really bad. Yeah.
So when Maria happened, months and like sometime later, they found a warehouse
Mhm.
with hundreds and thousands of things like baby bottles, baby formula, diapers, water. Bro, they found a shit ton of water on top of a mountain that was hidden, and
Wow.
it was a cop from what's called Fura, and they fucking fired that cop in the helicopter for misappropriation of government funds because they
Really?
took pictures of it. Dude, yes, yes,
I heard
absolutely.
that.
I
That
remember
woman.
reading this.
I heard that woman. What over there was a little corrupt too. I forgot which one. But
Puerto Rico, bro.
huh?
Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico's so corrupt.
Uh,
It's just
I
so
know people that had
it's
family over there. It was very sad. I mean, you guys lost everything over there. It was horrible.
yeah, I've survived through a few hurricanes. Um, you know, I remember, I think which one was it? Hmm. I think it was George, I want to say. I want to say it was George. And what happened with George was that we didn't have water for a while, and it was fucking terrifying too, because
That
you
kind of
got the
sucked.
power
Yeah.
plants. Yeah, you got your power plants. Here it is right here. Da, da, da. Tens of thousands of water bottles meant for survivors of the two hurricanes that pummeled Puerto Rico in 2007 have been found sitting unopened and expired on a private estate. Aerial images from the news agency AFP shows fields covered in piles of bottles of water, many packaged in giant bundles. 2019. Yep.
How horrible that is.
Oh, there it is right there. There's a picture. For the people on the Patreon, you'll be able to see this. This is from the New York Post. Da, da, da. There it is.
Wow.
There it is. Look at that. Look at that, bro. Look
That's
at
unreal.
that is wild to me.
People probably were like dying for having water to have water, and they couldn't get it.
Well, man, it's one of those things that it's like I don't know the entirety of that, which now I kind of want to know like what happened with that situation because I remember reading about that because I read the news in English and in Spanish. It's just easier
Mhm.
for me. And sometimes the news in Spanish is very direct to the point. Like news in the US is kind of like, and there was an attentive gang shooting. There was a possible gang shooting on Missouri Avenue where an assault weapon was used and fired many rounds. And in Spanish news, it's like person was shot, 17 shells were occupied, unknown, no information known at this time. That's it.
Right.
That's some Spanish news.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, like just give me what I want to know. Like suspected gang, like I
Everything's
feel.
a show in America. They have in the United
Oh,
States,
dude.
everything dragged on. It's dramatic. I mean, they're trying to even the headlines. They fish you in to hear what it is, and they give you bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's I kind of struggle with that sometimes because like when I post like clips for the podcast, I'll post a clip and I'll write like a catchy headline, but I always try to make it about either the clip or the episode
Right. Right.
because it's one of those things that I don't want to fall like, for example, I saw someone one that said uh so and so touched someone's dick, like something crazy, right? And then you watch the video and it had fucking nothing to do with that. And I'm like, you motherfucker, you made me
Yeah.
watch that. So like to me, like someone like me, it's like, okay, I'm never watching your shit ever again. Like I literally like if you do that to me, if I see anyone doing that, I'm like, nope, I'm good.
That's
And
that's just like those infomercials. They say, "Oh, you got control your diabetes if you get this, or control your blood pressure." And then you read it, and it's like it takes like 45 minutes in. They didn't even tell you what to do, and it's all bullshit, man. It's
my
horrible.
whole thing with medicine sometimes is the side effects. Like the
Oh
side
yeah,
effects are like
side effects are
so
worse than
much worse.
actually having like the high blood pressure. The side effects is worse.
Yeah, my favorite thing is like may cause death, and I'm like, fuck you mean may? Like, give me. I wish pharmaceutical manufacturers would like just post on the bottle being like, there's a 0 point, like a 1.8999 chance that you might die from this medication. All right, I'm willing to gamble 1%. I'm willing to gamble. I'm a gamble 1%. above 20%, my man. We talking that's I got questions.
Yeah,
I
it's
got
scary to
questions.
take. I just did that with my stepfather the other night. He's taking a new diabetic thing, and I'm reading it over. It's, oh, this could cause dizziness and this, and you could pass out. You can get low blood sugar. You get the. I said, I think you're better off with the shit you gave before. I said, you're better off with fucking diabetes. I mean, you kidding me? This thing's gonna make you you're gonna walk around like a zombie, but your sugar's gonna be fine. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
you're gonna have normal and man, that's the thing. Like, what kills me too is like we have so many things that I wish we could find a cure for, and people are like, no, there's no cure. I'm like, man, stop the
They have
madness.
cures for it. They
Stop
have
the
cures.
madness. You telling me there's no cures, no
Yeah.
studies, no like
Listen,
I have questions,
we're overpopulated. They don't want to cure everybody. We're
bro.
overpopulated.
You want to talk about overpopulation, my man? Puerto Rico's an island that's 100 by 32, and we have 3.2 million people as of last year.
I mean,
In 100 by
that's
32
crazy.
islands.
It's crazy.
Bro, that's not crazy. Puerto Ricans would be the worst terrorists in the world. Think about that. All we do is eat, fuck, work, and drink.
Hey, you guys have fun, man. That's the beauty of it, man.
Oh, it's a party. I was just telling my wife because she was asking me what Christmas is like, you know? And I told my wife, I said in Puerto Rico we celebrate we do the 25th. Obviously, some people do the 25th. Some people are still very traditional and they like to do they like to go to church, and that day's reserved for praying, and with the bees and stuff. And then the January 6th is the one that everybody celebrates, which is the Three Holy Kings, which I believe that's a
Oh,
Middle
I
East.
thought that was the insurrection at the White House, at the Congress. January 6th.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh my God, I forgot about that. It is January 6th. Oh my God. Oh fuck. Oh wow, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Donald
Oh,
Trump Day and Christmas in Puerto Rico.
oh fuck. He was how would Trump celebrate the Three Holy Kings, Pat? Tell me. Just do the voice, Pat. Just do the voice.
Listen, I mean, January 6th is going to be, it's going to be named Donald Trump Day. We're going to have Martin Luther King, Donald Trump in the same month. We're going to celebrate both holidays. It's going to be so terrific. I mean, quite frankly, we need a Donald Trump Day. I mean, because I am the greatest president ever. I mean, nobody's better than me. Really. I mean, Rico, come on, you can agree. Rico's a good friend of mine. I know Rico. I mean, for a long time. I mean, I've been to Puerto Rico with him. His family's terrific.
I mean,
He's
you're a
so
Puerto Rican already. Like, if
I
you've been
am
to
a
Puerto
Puerto
Rico,
Rican. I love the Mexican people. I eat Taco Bell. I eat Taco Bell. I mean, I love Taco Bell. I mean, the Mexicans make the best tacos. Taco Bell. It's not even real Mexican.
that's that's my favorite thing. That's my favorite thing when people ask me what's the difference, and I go, Puerto Ricans don't even speak Spanish, bro. Like we have our own like it's funny because I work as an interpreter, and like one of the things that I tell people is like, man, you gotta watch out for dialect, Dialect will get you stabbed. Like,
Yeah, you know what? You know it's true. I work in the kitchen, and I
mm,
worked with a lot of Mexican people years ago. I work with a lot of Mexican people, and we work. And listen, I tell you, I used to speak. So I worked with a Peruvian girl, and I started speaking Spanish to him at work in the kitchen. We got a different job. She goes, you
yeah.
speak Mexican? I said, what do you mean I speak Mexican? She goes, you talk. I said, well, I work with a couple of men. So now, it's pretty funny. Like my girlfriend's from Ecuador, uh, so
Oh, you got a Ecuadorian girlfriend?
yeah, I got Ecuador, not Lorena Bobbitt. But when I'm at their house, when, I told her I got to sleep with a cup on. But with their family, like they got Telemundo on the TV on that New Year's and everything. I'm like a fish out of water over there. But the
the,
salsa
the
music.
best thing the best thing you can do, right? Do you go to Ecuador to
I'm
visit?
not going there right now. I heard all the problems there. I do not want to go there right now. I never been there.
I got a homie down there. I got a homie who has a house down there.
But
What's
I
going
heard
on
they're
in
like having
Ecuador?
like a little civil war down there. I heard they got some things going on down
Really?
there. Yeah, I
Well,
heard.
good sir, I did not hear about that. I
I
know
heard it's
that
beautiful.
Colombia
My
is.
girlfriend wants me to go there. I've been going out with her for years. She wants me to go there. I've been going out with her for 11 years, but she wants me to go. So we're not going to go yet. We're going to wait.
Are you practicing your Spanish or like?
I listen. In my place, I have all Spanish people working for me, and I want them to learn English for the residents because they got to deal with the residents. But I understand it. Like I listen, I understand it. I took it in school when I was a kid, but I understand it. I can I can get a halfway decent conversation in, and I can get myself through it. And at my age, you don't remember the words as much, but then I do all right with food words. I know all the food words and stuff like that. Being in the kitchen, I've been in the kitchen for 40 years, so I
Yeah.
work with Dominicans. I work with I work with every nationality. And I know
It's
Dominican. I know Dominicans is a bad word to say to a Puerto Rican, but
well, it's not that it's a bad word. You know why Dominicans and Puerto Ricans have problems, right?
It was funny. Years ago, I had a friend of mine at the gym,
Uh-huh.
and his name was Pedro. And he was Puerto Rican, and we had another people I work with. This guy Thomas, and they were Dominicans. I said, "Oh, you got to hang out with Thomas and then they're Dominicans." Dominican man, I ain't hanging out with the Dominican. I'm like, he got like violent. I'm like, oh shit.
So most people don't know this, but in Puerto Rico, we have a huge immigration issue with the Dominican Republic. Like one of the
Oh,
yeah, they'll come to the island, and again, this isn't everybody, right? But this is a huge immigration issue we've had ever since I can remember. Like Puerto Ricans have had to change their birth certificate style various times because Dominicans keep coming to the island and they'll buy their birth certificates from people and stuff like that, and then people will go get another one. Like, dude, it's a mafia what they got going on, and the
wow.
Dominicans are just, oh yeah, dude, it's not even the Dominicans' fault because a lot of those things, and again, I could be speaking out of
Well, I
turn,
think
but
it was back then. Back then, I thought it was like a thing that the Dominicans thought they were like better than the Puerto Ricans. That's what I gathered from Pedro. But I
nah,
guess it's
bro,
more.
it's more of a border issue, man, because they try to come on board to
I
Puerto
didn't know
Rico
that.
all the time.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
dude,
Wow.
they'll like I know someone who used to work Homeland Security, and all the time they would have guys that say, "Oh, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican," and they were Dominican, and you can tell like if you speak Spanish, and like me as an interpreter, like if I hear someone talking Spanish and they don't hide their accent, which is really hard, dude, I know where you're from, like 100%.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
like
you.
Dominican. They say salsa, and then like in another Spanish dialect, they say salsa. Like
Oye, pero yo te saco la salsa de ahí, vaquito. They
yeah,
talk like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
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 they talk like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then
So
Puerto
it's like
Ricans, ellos te hablan de esta manera. Like they sound like they're singing. Like Puerto Ricans sound like they're trying to do a reggaeton song all the time.
right, right, right. Okay,
Yeah,
wow,
and
that's
then
wild.
yeah, dude, I'm been an interpreter for a while. I've been all over, and I got some really good people that they've taught me well. But like that's one of the issues that it is with the Dominicans. But like, dude, I was in New York 2016, 2017, I think. I went with my friend, and we were on 37th Street on New York City.
Uh-huh.
37th? Yeah, 37 or 36th Street. It's the one near the cigar shop, the Davidoff cigar shop. And we had this guy
Probably,
that
probably right.
was, yeah, yeah, yeah. We had this guy that was he was our valet, and the dude didn't speak English. And my homeboy Sean goes like, "Yo, Rico, I need you over here." And the guy's like, "Oye, pero qué pasa? Oye, ¿cómo estamos?" And I was like, "Yo, give me 10." I gave the guy 10, talked to him, and I told Sean, I said, "Don't worry, bro. We got back. The dude detailed our car, cleaned the whole car out, and the change that he found a bunch of change because we were traveling all over the U.S. Me and my boy.
Uh,
He gave us like a bag of change, and my boy Sean goes, "Man, that's yours, bro. You can keep it." And dude, I told Sean, I was like, "Bro, it
so
was a
cool.
hefty, like a hefty bag, bro. Like I'm not a coin person, but I think there was at least more than $20 in there, you know." And
That's
dude,
cool. It shows his honesty. Yeah, the guy was honest. You give it to him. Yeah.
yeah, dude, that's the whole thing, man. If you're honest with me, like, is gonna get rewarded, Especially if you're like, you can clean my car. Like we were traveling. We went to Mount Rushmore, went to New York, went to Niagara Falls, hit up a bunch of places. And but yeah, that's the main thing why there's a big issue between like the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, to my knowledge. I don't know if there's a historical issue there.
That's good. That's good to know. Now I got more clarification
Yeah.
because it's always been a
Dude.
fun.
Yeah. So like the birth certificate in Puerto Rico used to be orange, right? Like used to be orange and it said Estado Libre Asociado, Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, blah, blah, blah. And then it was blue. then it was green, and I think now it's like a different color. Like I've had to ask my parents to get my birth certificate because in
Wow.
the United States they catch wind of that and they go, hey, if your birth certificate, if you're from Puerto Rico and your birth certificate is from this year to this year, it's null, it's no good. And like that's one of the problems that I have is that every time that they change it, I have to get a new one. So
Wow.
it's just a bitch to do. And dude, to go to Puerto Rico is not a it's a long ass flight, man. I'm 2,200 miles from Puerto Rico from where I'm at.
Yeah, I
So
remember when I went to Puerto Rico, it was 5.5 hours from New York.
is it five and a half hours? Man,
It was
damn,
like
from
four, no, four,
Florida.
four, four. Oh, it was a long time ago. I know I was on the plane for a long time, and they actually gave a meal out. So I know back then, if after a certain amount of hours, they gave a meal out. But it
Yeah,
was it
every
was it
time.
was pretty long. It was maybe five, but it was pretty long.
Yeah, I hate flying, man. I really do.
Oh,
I just don't.
I, I just recently flew to Arizona last year around October, October 20th. I was on the Food Network. I was on a TV show, Supermarket Stakeout.
Oh,
So I
really?
figured, yeah, yeah, yeah.
What
So
episode? What season?
season four, Vacation Nation is the
Okay.
episode.
Supermarket. What is it?
Stakeout with Alex Gonacelli,
Oh, dude, tell me
and
about that.
there was Christian Petroni and Eddie Jackson were the judges. But they flew us out to Arizona. Everything was paid for, so I figured I'm going to get first class. They put me like in the no class section. I mean, I was they would give me scraps from the first class section. I mean, I'm a big guy. I'm trapped between this woman next to me and a husband. I'm in a think like a sardine, but yeah, flying is pretty tough. And that was like 5.5 on the way there, and like 5 on the way back.
I
That's
hate
pretty long
flying.
flight.
I hate traveling in general. I feel like I've traveled in my 20s like enough that I'm like now I just kind of there's like a few places that I want to go like Egypt. I like to go to Egypt. Um I'd like to go back to Japan.
Oh, you were in Japan, yeah?
Japan, you ever been to Japan?
No, no, I'm not a big traveler. No,
Bro, it's beautiful. I lived in South Korea for a little bit. And
really.
yeah, the army. I got stationed in Seoul, Yongsan,
Uh-huh.
back in from 2011 to almost 2013, like till November of 2012.
Uh-huh.
And dude, that culture, like the mentality of the kids is what surprised me. Because there's in Seoul, there's universities everywhere, there's schools everywhere.
Right.
And by the way, to the people who are scared to travel that are listening to this to Korea, everybody speaks fucking English.
Really?
Everybody. Yes, everybody, because it's like in Puerto Rico. Everybody speaks English in Puerto Rico. People just don't tell you.
Wow.
People don't tell you because,
Now,
well,
did you learn how to speak Japanese or anything?
no, in Korea, I believe it's Hangul is what it's called in Korea.
Mhm.
And it's very complex. But
Asian
Japanese,
language is very complex.
they're very it's because they're alphabets. So one thing you said earlier that I wanted to tell you is you were saying that how as you get older you have difficulty memorizing languages. One of the things that I do when people come to me to teach them Spanish is I teach in a very yeah, I'll say this, I don't care. One of the ways that I teach is I do it phonetically. So like let's say you come to me, right? You go, Richard, I want to learn Spanish. I go, cool, no problem. We're gonna do 2 hours a week. And people go, 2 hours a week? Like that's ridiculous. I go, no, we're gonna do 2 hours a week for 90 days. And what I'm doing is I'm basically reconditioning your brain because the problem that people have that I've noticed when I teach them is they'll say, for example, like my name, right? Ricardo Abdel Aviles, which my name in Spanish would be Ricardo Abdel Aviles. So see, the difference is how I'm saying it. So if you
Right.
can, I have a theory that if you can, and dude, I've taught 12 people. One of them is a cigar guy named Christian Hutchinson, and he went to Colombia with the Spanish that he was learning from me for like 2 years, and he was like, dude, I fucking understood everything. Like I just understood everything. And Christian's like in his late 40s, you know.
Uh,
And one of the things that I do is like like a ah, like I'll do the vowels for
yeah,
ah.
that's what I learned in class when we were in school. Exactly how we learned. Yeah, yeah.
Dude, but see that's the way to teach people. What they do in a lot of
And roll
classes
your roll your
nowadays
R's and all that stuff.
to roll your R's, I'll give you a trick. You relax your jaw, you put the tip of your tongue right here, and you exhale. You go, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Eventually, you'll be able to do and you can do that, and you can roll your R's, and it's not hard.
Oh, that's cool.
That's literally the trick.
I
You
never
put the
had problems with rolling my R's, but I know a lot of people do have problems, so that's a good trick for them. You know, my
yeah.
girlfriend. You know, my girlfriend learns English.
How?
Uh, and it was annoying in the beginning for me, but when she watches TV, like she learns the English. When she watches TV, she puts the words on the bottom. What do they call the
Subtitles.
subtitles? So she watches the whole movie. And when she hears the words, she reads them off the thing. So she does good. She's pretty self taught. She took a few
That's how
classes.
my parents. That's how my parents. Well, my parents also. I went to a school where you had to learn English. Like it wasn't a fucking option. And I was an interpreter starting in high school. I was interpreting
Wow.
for the teachers, going to conferences, and I got to go to Disney. To not only be an interpreter there for a week, which I would never recommend doing that because that was rough interpreting for everybody and running around. And then I have a thing because I was there for FBLA. Uh, and then I had to compete doing the FBLA stuff, and then I had to go and then also interpret for everybody because there were some teachers that they didn't know any English. So yeah, man, it's the same in Korea. Everybody knows English, dude, and everything's in English too.
Right.
And if you've gone too far and there's no English, you're in a
Right.
militarized zone. You'll know because there's it's so crazy. I haven't talked about this in forever. There's a certain parts after you pass Seoul that the public doesn't go to because it's completely militarized, and there's certain parts near the border where for miles and miles it's landmines from the war that they've never uncovered.
Wow.
So there's parts where they'll say beware landmines or beware random explosions and stuff like that, and I'm just like sitting here like, do you imagine you're just driving like just look around like, yep, there goes a mine, you know.
Pretty fucking
Like
pretty
it's
fucking scary. I'll tell you the truth.
man, it's war is
I mean,
terrifying.
it's got to be. You guys are training that stuff, but it got to be pretty scary when you go into Afghanistan or something like that, and got to be a pretty scary feeling. I mean,
I'll tell you this. I went to war straight out of basic. So I didn't have any pre-deployment training, which was a horrible idea. I don't recommend anyone doing this. It's a crash course on how to have anxiety. And I've said this before on the show. When I started going on missions, the first 2 weeks, I would come back and I would puke. Like literally, I would come back from running missions, going outside the wire, doing the stuff that we were doing, and I would come back and it was an adrenaline dump. Like I didn't know how to handle the adrenaline dump. So I would come back and literally it happened like on cue every time. We'd come back, put up the cars, give the briefing, make sure everybody was good, your ammo's good, you clean your weapon. Once you were done cleaning your weapon, I would start walking down to my hooch and I literally felt the puke coming. And sometimes I didn't make it. And I carried a 249. So like I had 1,000 rounds on me at all time, plus my vest and everything. And dude, I remember like the first 2 weeks, dude, I would just puke every time. And I just like I had to like breathe through it, and I never told anybody because I didn't want people to I didn't even know what was going on. I thought that was normal.
right,
And then
right, right.
finally years later I spoke with a dude that I went to war with. I don't want to say his name because I don't he's still in and he's doing stuff. And one of the things that he was telling me, he's like, yeah, that happens. That happens to people.
Yeah,
And I
there's
was
not.
just like, I was so embarrassed because dude, I was pretty lucky, man. I had a group of guys that there was probably over 15 years of war experience in my squad because we had a guy that'd been 7 times. We had another guy that'd been 4. Sergeant Brown had been 3. Montgomery haven't been, and the Sarandol was 2. Yeah, so about you add that up, that's a couple years. And
Wow.
dude, they were like, hey, we got to go pick up this guy. Okay, well, we're gonna go at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I would hear people arguing because you sit when you go to war, people think that it's like you just go and shoot. Yeah, there's some people who've had that experience that they just go and shoot and it's the wild wild west. Man, when I went in, it's like, bro, if you got into an engagement or something, or you went in to kick down a door or something, you had to write a statement and you had to like make sure that everything was right. You had to make sure you didn't leave traces behind. You had to make sure of all this other shit. So it's like a lot of paperwork involved. And as a leader, you know, I was a private when I went, thank God. You know, the leaders, man, you saw those guys working 24/7 trying to like get information and whatnot, you know? Because it's there's a lot of that goes through before you
Listen, man, I don't know how you guys do it. I give you the utmost credit in the world. I mean, God bless you guys. I don't know how you do it, especially when you say with all that equipment in the 90-degree heat. That's got to be brutal too. Oh,
90.
oh, 100,
Bro,
whatever you say,
no.
in the
Try
desert.
130. The
Wow.
hottest it
How do
ever
you stay
got in Iraq.
How do you stay hydrated? You gotta have.
You drink water. You drink literally 2 to 3 gallons a day because you're losing it. You're literally losing it. And if you have Humvees, like we were lucky, we had M wraps,
Uh,
um, which I don't know if you've ever seen an M wrap.
no.
Um, let me pull one right here. Let me show you what they kind of sort of look like, I guess. Let me see right here. You can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
All right. Ignore the feet pics that you see. That's an M wrap right there. Well,
Okay.
that's an unarmored N wrap. What
Uh,
I drew was where the fuck is it? Unarmored. There it is. There it is. There's the beauty. There it is. That's what I drove right there.
wow.
So, so at the bottom of that, it's like a V. So
Uh,
the explanation, and I'm probably butchering this, so if I am, and to whoever's listening, correct me. It's like a V. So if you were to hit a plate, the
uh,
explosion would be guided because they did some fucking crazy math that they figured out. And then these things right here, if you shot at it, it didn't do shit. But they ended up figuring out they can put like EFPs, which I can't remember what the fucking EFP stands for. Um, yeah, see, there's the door. See, and you see the inside right there. You put the detainees there, you put your stuff there. There's your water, some gas. You have a medical thing right here. And then over here on the side, we would normally carry like a stretcher in case, you know, in case something happened, you had the stretcher.
wow.
And then you would just run drills. Like before you go on a mission for like 2 hours, we would run drills. Okay, we took enemy contact from the left side. Third vehicle's down. Go. And then you got to go react. And you did that for 2 hours, and then we go out on mission.
Jeez.
Yeah, is not is not
I'm
people
telling you, man. Yeah, it's,
this way. I was there for 15 months,
let me
and
tell
we
you, when you're at home complaining about things and there's other guys in other countries fighting a war, you got nothing to complain about, man.
thought it this way too, man. Like a lot of when I was there, I was in a place called Amaria, and which is like a mahala, which is like a village, right? And dude, I remember like seeing these people so happy when we would throw Gatorades at them and stuff like that. And the kids, like their faces light up because they don't have that. They can't afford a lot of that stuff, you know?
Yeah, I can
It
imagine.
is crazy, dude. That's why I tell people, like, I remember, dude, the first time I got back, I had a cousin that was complaining about not having enough clothes. And I had heard, you know how you hear the old veterans talk about how they'll randomly get mad for no reason?
Uh,
Bro, I heard that and it was like someone hit me with a whip in the back of my head. I just like went like this and I was like, "What the fuck are you bitching about?"
right.
And I just like stared at her and she just didn't understand it and I was like, "Oh my god, you don't get it. Like there's people that have the same pair of fucking clothes and you're complaining? Like who gives a fuck? Like you're just
Well,
trying to
that's what I tell people that complain. I said, maybe you see one guy's in a wheelchair or something. I said, look, you don't have that many problems. You were complaining before. Look at that guy. You got no legs. You know what I mean? And that's why I
it
count my
is.
blessings every day, and I try not to complain about anything. I roll
See,
with the punch.
and that's hard as a comic. I don't know for you, but like as a comic, there's certain things that I try to make fun of that I have a hard
Oh,
time.
you see, I have different comedy, but I'd like to get into that type of comedy too because I got a lot of complaint. But my comedy is like making fun of myself, my friends, the assisted living, and things that happen in my life. So I don't really go into observational comedy that much. You know what I mean? But I'd like to try that one day. But I'm not a big on that. I just try to take the fun out of things that make the fun out of things that happen to me.
How do
I think
you
I think when I get too serious, when I do things, I think I scare people instead of making them laugh.
yeah, that's a fine line. And I'm very young in the comedy game and not as consistent as I should be. But like one of the things that I've noticed is that if you write every day, like that has a benefit. And that's one of the things that I love about that's one of the things I love about myself, honestly, is that I love writing. Like, I've been taking notes the whole time. And then I have
Right.
another one over there. I don't want to reach it. That's like my comedy one, and I sit down and I write jokes. But man, comedy is such a wild thing to me. Like, how do you uh and I've been meaning to ask you this the whole time. How do you manage so many things, like between comedy, between work, between family? Like, what's your deal? Like, how do you manage all that?
I try to prioritize things, and I've always had good work ethic. I guess that's what helped me, from being a worker my whole life. So I just try to just pace myself with different, like after I'm done with you, I'm going to be doing a rehearsal for the honeymooners because I'm doing a honeymoon play a little later, and then when writing comedy for me is like how do I say? I'm not a big writer like you are. Like you say you write things. I don't write my whole jokes out. I write
Mm,
the topic out. So when I
mm.
know I look back and I have it in my head, which is probably a crazy way to do comedy, but that's the way I do my. I'll have a bunch of topics, and then I'll go on about it, and I'll just, it'll refresh my memory what happened in that situation. It's just like with cooking, with recipes. I don't have any of my recipes written down, but now as I'm getting older, I say I better start writing them down because I make things. I said, when I make that sauce the other day, I said I made a nice Asian sauce the other day. What I put in that? I tell the guy that I work with, I say, can you write this down for me next time I make it? So it's but it's sometimes you get tired. Like my friend said, he said, "What are you doing? You just did a show this night. You did a show here. You went to work all day. Then you're doing rehearsals and stuff. And yeah, it takes a lot of my time. So and I
Yeah,
used to golf a lot. Now I'm not golfing as much anymore. And I have elderly parents that I help with out too. And so it's got pretty full, busy all time. Yeah,
that's good stuff that you help out your parents, man.
yeah,
I
yeah,
wish I wish sometimes I was in a position where I could have my parents closer.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think as
well,
I'm getting older, I don't know if there's wisdom here that you can share, but I think as I'm getting older, I'm starting to like wish I was in a position or trying to get to a position where my family can like come down here whenever there's like a hurricane or something. Because dude, the anxiety that I felt during Maria and then the anxiety that I felt this last time just did not help. It
yeah.
just
I don't know how you handle that. That's got to be pretty tough. Well, here's another thing. Like you went into service, so you didn't get to see your family for long stretches of time.
well, we
You
didn't
know,
get along. Let me pause you there. We didn't get along as well. Like me and my family, we didn't get along. I'm kind of like the oddball in my family. Like
okay,
I'm doing comedy, I'm doing podcasting, I have a t-shirt business, I'm an interpreter, and
right,
then you have people in my family that are cops or that are
right,
judges or doctors or psychologists or school principals,
right.
successful entrepreneurs. And I kind of just, it's never been one of those things where we were really close. And when I was in the service, I was honestly really alone 90% of the time. Most people don't know this about me. That's why I kept to myself. But like
Wow.
I said, as I grow older,
You didn't have a girlfriend when you went into service, or a wife or nothing.
a girlfriend or
Okay, so you had okay. But listen, that's a lot
Pat, my
easier.
wife listens to this show, bro. Watch out, bro.
No, I'm not going to say that. That's a lot easier. Now, see, now I'll say something to you, and it's not that I'm a bad person. I did a year
Yeah.
in jail too once.
Mhm.
So if you have some, being away from your family, it's a lot different than war. But I did bookmaking. I got in trouble. I did a year in
Well,
jail.
dude, here's the thing with that is prison and war are similar. There's
Well,
some similarities.
that's why I was going to say. Now you're
Yeah.
away from your loved ones. If somebody gets sick, you
Yeah.
can't go there. You know what I mean?
Nope.
So you're bound. Well,
Yep.
before I went away, I broke up with my girlfriend because I didn't want to hear about her going here and this and that.
Smart.
I know I sound like a crazy bastard. No, no, we're done.
No, that's smart. That's smart.
I don't want to have a relationship. And you see guys crying on the phone with their girl.
Yep.
I said, you're the jerk.
I tell you what, that's actually a joke that I always have that I told one day because someone asked me. We have a common friend who we've had on the show that he served some time, and one day I told him, I said, man, going to war and going to prison isn't that far off. And he goes, why? One of them is voluntary, the other one isn't. I go, yeah, but no matter what, someone's banging your girl.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I was like, yeah. And he started laughing and he goes, that's a little dark. I go, yeah, this is coming from the guy that I got a Dear John letter while I was in Iraq. So that's the smartest thing you could have done was been like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah, because you know why? Because that's going to take your mind off your. If you're thinking about that, and you got guys shooting at you,
You got to
and I
survive.
know it sounds crazy because when you get into relationships, that's more powerful than anything. If you're thinking she's out cheating on, I wanted to leave that out. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
only it's sick, but I did it. But I saw other guys, and I used to joke with them. I said, "Yeah, she's probably banging the guy," and the guys.
Yeah. Yeah. She's getting stuff, bro. She's getting stuff. There's an old saying in Puerto Rico that says, eso no come joya habichuela. That doesn't eat rice and beans, bro. You can have that one. Next time you go to the kitchen, you go, yo, eso no come joya habichuela. Oh, what?
No come home en mi escuela.
Eso no come joya habichuela means it doesn't eat rice and beans, that eats meat. Yeah, dude,
God.
is wild, man. Like the similarities too. Obviously,
Well, that's what I'm saying. If now, but the reason why I was bringing that point up with you when you're away and going into war and stuff, if you had a wife at home and you had kids and stuff, or you're close with your family, now you're worrying if something happens to them. Oh, I can't be there now if something, God forbid, happens to them, or some. I won't see that person if they get sick and they don't. Your
yep.
grandparents or something like that, and it's on your head. You think about those things. I mean, it's only human nature. So
I remember when I went to basic, I didn't give anybody my address. Didn't give anybody my address. I didn't want to be fucking bothered. I went with the mentality of this is it. I have to make it. I don't want any fucking distractions. I don't want anybody to bother me. And again, I probably should have broken up with my girl because that's, man, sometimes, service members sometimes don't really realize what we're asking of our significant others. And now that I'm out and I have a lot of old
good point.
soldiers that come to me and like a lot of like today I had a friend of mine who wanted me to talk to one of his Marines because he's getting out. And man, I'm the type of person like if you give me a bullshit answer, like I'm gonna confront it. Like
Right.
I'm gonna push it and I'm gonna ask you. And you're not gonna like it. And dude, one of the things that I always tell guys is, man, just remember, like when you sign up and you marry a soldier, you're not marrying the soldier. You're marrying a lifestyle. And it's a
Yeah.
very lonely lifestyle. Let's say, this dude wants to go special operations, right? Because that's what everybody wants to do. Let's say he makes it. Hey man, guess what? That's a very lonely lifestyle because you can't tell people 99% of the things you do.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson that I try to impart to people is like you have to understand sometimes when you're with somebody, right? And this is actually I might use you as an example because that's a beautiful way to handle it. Sometimes you have to make I always tell guys and gals like when they get married and stuff like that, I go, man, you better be real sure if you can handle being apart and not knowing shit because your mind's going to start playing tricks. And then here's the biggest problem that I see a lot of people have is families start running their mouth. Oh, maybe he's out
Yeah.
cheating on you. Oh, maybe he's out doing this. Oh, and meanwhile, I'm over here getting spanked by a paddle by my battle buddies because we just won a gunfight or something. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you're over
Yeah.
here thinking that I'm cheating on you and shit. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, really? That's
Well,
why you
another
can't.
thing, another thing is that too. Like you say to yourself, yeah, I fucked up. I'm going to be away. Why should she sacrifice her life? She's young. Let her enjoy her life. We're done. And if I
That's
come
a
out,
very
fine,
selfless
she can
selfless
get out.
thing.
You know what I'm saying? Well,
Yeah.
why put yourself through that? Because
But Pat,
I'm going to sit here and try to make my time go faster. I don't need anything to hold my time back.
mhm.
You know what I
and,
mean?
and the thing is, that's a very you know what the problem is, Pat? That's a very wise thing to do in certain circumstances, not for everybody, but at the same time, it's also very selfless because it's like, listen, I don't want you to suffer this with me, even though you might, and if they do, then guess what, bro? You got to marry that because I got a friend who
Yeah, of
he
course.
yeah, there's certain exceptions, like I got a friend of mine who he was married to his high school sweetheart, and he went to war twice, and both times, dude, he told me straight up. He's like, dude, I got back. My wife was like, hey, welcome back. Go take out the trash. And
Well, that's
and
pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And you can test
see,
people that way too. It's pretty cool.
see, I didn't look at it like that in the beginning when I was younger. I was
What
like,
about
bro,
the movie? What
her.
about the movie The Sniper? I mean, you showed how much pressure it is on the wife there too. I mean,
Yeah, dude,
eh,
a great show that shows uh well, there's multiple. You have the unit that shows how the wives are, which I haven't seen that show in like 10 years. And then you have the new one that's making the rounds, the Seals on,
uh,
I think it's on Paramount. And dude, they do a good, listen, it takes a lot for a movie or a show to make me cry. And that show Seals, man, they had an episode recently that it was about the VA and about veteran suicide. Have you watched the show Seals?
not yet. No, I haven't watched it. I do a lot of
Bro,
comedy show for the veterans, and I hear about the suicide and stuff like. I go to the we do a VA at St. Albans, and we do a VA at Northport, and you hear some pretty crazy stories when we do our comedy. From
like
it's
crazy stories like what? Like what do you mean?
but guys committing suicide and all that stuff. You hear from the people there. It's serious stuff. You know,
It is,
and then
man, and
but then
and
I'm doing the shows for the people that have been hurt in war. Legs amputated and stuff like that. So that on top of it and hearing stories and stuff, it's like, I got I got some friends in the military too, and tell me and it's a horrible thing. It really is. It's
it's dude, I always put out like to the, because I can't save everybody.
right.
That when I hear people say, "Oh, I want to save everybody," like you don't understand, my man. And I always tell people like, dude, I'd rather listen to you for 3 hours while we smoke a cigar or have a drink than read your letter.
Right.
And I said that to somebody because we had years ago when I was active duty, we had a guy that killed himself because his wife was cheating on him, and I was the one who found him, and his kid had seen him already, and the kid called 911. And man, it was really hard. It was really hard because for me, like seeing that situation, it's like, dude, like you survived through so many things. The guy was a two-time combat veteran, combat action badge, engagements, and you let someone else's decision hurt you. And again, I've been cheated on and all this shit. And to me, I look at it
I've been
nowadays.
too. We all been. I think we've all been.
Yeah, dude. I don't think there's a single person that's lived in life
it's,
that hasn't been cheated on or
it's
hasn't.
the
I
emptiest feel. It's the emptiest feeling in the world, but it happens.
and at the same time, I look at it nowadays as if you're gonna cheat on me, because I've also cheated. Like I'm no fucking saint.
Mhm.
But one of the things that I've come to realize that it says more about you, the cheater, than the person that you cheated on.
Right.
Way more. Way fucking more. And I will argue this with anyone is like when someone cheats on you, it says more about them than about you. Because yeah, you can sit here and say, "Oh, well, they didn't fill whatever variable you want to enter. Well, why the fuck didn't you say something?" "Oh,
Right.
well, I did." "Well, why didn't you leave?"
Right.
See, and that's where people normally get stuck. They're, "Oh, well, you don't get it." And it's like, "No, I get it. I fucking get it. You're not getting the message that I'm trying to send to you."
Well,
And
women cheat for emotional reasons. Men cheat because it's like we're hunters. It's a little
woo!
different.
Man, I'm an emotional motherfucker. I probably cheat if a woman. Listen, dude, I tell my wife all the time, you want to keep me happy, just say something nice to me once a day. I know it's hard, man. I look like a fat Joe Rogan that likes anime too much. But like, dude, just say one nice thing to me a day. And my wife was like, all right, that's it. But you know what the thing is, dude? People nowadays, when they get in a relationship, they don't have those uncomfortable conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
Yeah, yeah.
what do you think about raising kids? Hey, how's your credit score? Hey, what do you think of traveling? Hey, what do you think of when we get married? We do this for this many years and then we live this type of life. Hey, what do you think about investing? Hey, what do you think about work? Like me and
Right,
my wife, we do business together. Like we
right.
do business, and when we do business together, it's a very different conversation, and we do that behind closed doors, obviously.
Uh-huh.
But I think that's part of the issue, man. And that was a big issue in the military that people were saying is like, you know, that old joke, Private Snuffy gets married to a stripper after knowing her for 2 weeks. Bro, look at how we treat each other in the military, bro. You have a chick that says, "Oh, you're so nice to me." It's like, whoa, I want to marry you because you're nice to me. And it's like you don't realize it, dude. Yeah, because you get listen. I come to realize I've done a lot of retrospect. I don't know about you, but and you probably have too. Being locked up, you do a lot of fucking thinking,
Oh yeah,
a lot of thinking. And
I
for
changed my
me,
life around. I changed my life around. I said I'm going to do things now that I never did. And you have a different outlook on it. It's like, I'm free now.
that was that was me coming back from Iraq. Was I came to realize like, oh, I've been wasting my time. I
Yeah,
just wasting my fucking time. Like not with Iraq, obviously, but well, I don't know if you saw what happened to the airport in Baghdad years ago, but
yeah, yeah. No, but I'm saying that's probably how I could keep busy like I do, because I have that different mindset now. So
that's
it's
that's that's so important though. And that's cool that you're sharing that because I feel like a lot of people when they see, people like you, people like Donofrio who's doing movies and doing this, like, dude, how the fuck do you stay motivated? It's like, dude, my mind doesn't think. I just go, I'm gonna do this and fuck it, let's go do it.
yeah,
Unless I'm sick. That's one thing that when I was in the military was big was, dude, if you're sick, stay the fuck away from everybody.
yeah.
Like,
You're right.
like, yeah, dude, stay away. It does no good, man. Uh,
Yeah, no, that's why I take on whatever. Like Saturday, somebody called me for a movie part. I did a movie Saturday. I cut a couple of scenes. Boom. After that, you're done, and then you go on to the next project. You just try to just fit in everything you can. You
so
know.
I gotta ask you about this honeymooners thing that you're doing.
Yes.
Can you talk to me about that? I really want to talk about that. What can you
Okay.
tell me
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah. So we started doing these plays at a restaurant that this guy Freddie I used to know from the gym, but I'm friends with his wife. She owns the restaurant. Fred DeMeni plays Art Carney. So we were always honeymooners buffs, and he always wanted to get together. We're not talking to me. He was talking to his wife. He always wanted to do, because he does acting, does plays. He always wanted to do the honeymooners and reenact the whole thing. So his wife said, "Why don't you get Pat? He's a big honeymooners buff too." And he said, "Wow, he could play Ralph Cramden." So long story short, back in 2019, we started doing the Christmas episode. So they did we did the, it was the night before Christmas. I don't know if you know much about the honeymooners.
No, I know. It was it only lasted like a year, right? Like 54
Well,
to
they got 39
55.
episodes and they have the lost episode. So we did the whole episode word for word like they did it, but we have a set built. I don't know if you can see on my Facebook page, my the on YouTube. I have some of the videos, but we had the set built by this guy Tony Tripp. So he built the whole set of the honeymooners, the apartment, and replicas. It's like pretty cool. Looks just like it. We went from the dresser, the table, the window, and we're going to do the other episode when we go outside the window. But we got to get everything. We got to get the window made bigger. But
Who do
so
you
anyway,
play?
huh?
Who do you play again? I'm sorry.
I play Ralph Cramden, Jackie Gleason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow, I'm looking at a picture of him and then I look at you and the hair, like the
Well,
the
they dyed my hair.
hairstyle.
They dyed my hair for the scene the last time. Not, yeah. If you look at some of the, you can go on my YouTube page, or you can go on. They dyed my hair for the scene. We did the one where he snuck out bowling when he was supposed to get his company physical. So we tried the dye job that time. We didn't dye it the first time. So it came out pretty good. Everybody started enjoying it. So now we're going to be doing it a few times in the restaurant. Now I'm doing a free one for the seniors in the community. I came up with an idea. I said, let's get back to the community for the Christmas episode. So December 16th, we're going to be doing the Christmas episode at the Glen Cove Senior Center, which holds like almost 200 people. So we're going to do that episode for them. And then I work in assisted living, so 25 people from my facility, 25 people from another facility, all could come and watch us, and it's going to be pretty cool.
How did this all come about? Because that's a really specific show that was huge in its time. With Ralph Cramden and Norton, Trixie Norton,
Well, I
like
guess it's because Hold on, this is for you. Hello. I'm still on the podcast. Can you give me another half hour?
We're almost done. I promise you.
We're almost done. Yeah, but another half, I'll call you. All right. Thanks very much. So it it started with Fred. It was his vision. He wanted to do it, and he wanted because he does plays. He does murder mysteries. He's a bodybuilder too. So he came up with this idea. He called me down. I said, "Yeah, I love Ralph Cramden. I mean, I'm a big Jackie Gleason buff." I said, "I would be an honor to play him, but it's going to be, I want to try to mimic him the best I could." So we do a lot of rehearsing and watching video, and like now we're rehearsing. Remember our lines we're doing like tonight. We're going to just go through the whole script and we're going to go through our lines and then we do the blocking. And when we do the blocking, we try to do it identical as what they do, which is pretty cool. But we even do down to the mistakes. Like if he made a mistake with his wording, because the honeymooners Gramden made and Norton made, they all made a lot of mistakes. So we took it from the video and we use all their words, even their mistakes. So and yeah, that's what came about was Freddie's vision, and then I followed it. I said, yeah, let's do it. So we worked pretty hard on it, me and him. Norton's got, I don't know if you know what Norton's got a lot of movements, and Freddie's a pretty big guy, but he's not as big as he was when he's bodybuilding, and he got a lot of crazy movements he has to do. So I think he's got a lot tougher than me with the movements, but I got to do a lot of Cramden's facial expression with the bulging eyes and all that stuff, and it's pretty wild. It's a lot of fun. I mean, and I'm a perfectionist, so when I get down on myself if I, uh, if things don't go right, with another actor, if they mess up, and then it's like, not to knock it, she didn't mean it, she's great, but she missed a line because it was one of the funniest lines in there. It's like, it's supposed to lead up to me. She goes, "Don't worry, we'll just eat, and then you can go home." He said, "Now I'm not that kind of a, I'm not that kind of a man. I'm not the kind that eats and runs." And she's supposed to be eats and runs. You're lucky after you eat, you can walk. And so it was like that line. She missed it. So it bothered me the whole thing, but it's pretty cool. And it's a lot of fun. We're getting good feedback from the people. They love it. Even when I post some of the video clips, a lot of people are into it. They think it's pretty cool. So we'll see what happens.
No, that's pretty good, man. That's I'll have to.
And I
And
never did a
when
play.
is it playing?
It's going to be December 16th, um, and then it's going to be the 17th. We're going to do senior center for free in the daytime. Then we have a show in the restaurant at 10 o'clock, and then we get a show in the restaurant the next day, like a 2 o'clock show. And then we're going to work on a couple other episodes. Freddie wrote an episode, and what do you call it? He wrote our own episode that they never filmed. So we're gonna try to. I got to try to go across the script with him and try to iron it out and get that down. And then we're gonna do the other one where Andre the pardon my glove, it's called, with Andre the interior decorator, when Norton and Cramden were outside in the window, and he thinks Alice is cheating on him. Comes in with the gloves. Aha! So you think I'm old fashioned, eh?
I gotta I gotta catch up with my older shows, man. My co-host Eric, he loves all these shows. Well, he's in his 50s, you know.
Well, I never did a play before, so I didn't think. And I'm the main star. I'm saying, how the hell am I going to remember all these lines? But I amazed myself. I did good. I remembered all the lines. When you act in a movie, I don't know if you've ever been in a movie. You get
Never.
a few lines, you can always go cut, and then you do it again. Well, when you're doing a play, there's no cut. There's
You
no
fuck up,
cut.
you fuck up.
You're just out there. It's like stand-up comedy. I mean, when you're out there, it's just you and the audience. So, I guess that's what helped me being into the stand-up comedy. So,
That's good though. That's it's nice to have things that overlap a little bit to get like
yeah.
some to get that experience and whatnot. Man,
I've been like analyze that. I was in, I didn't really have any talking parts in analyze that or a Bronx Tale. I was in both of them, but this is pretty cool having. And I got a couple other movies on the Me for Me too. I had a small part, but I got a couple other movies now that we worked on. I don't know if they're ever going to make the movies, but I'm hoping they do. So where I have talking parts. I play a mob boss in this movie called Good Friday, and now I just played in a Good Samaritan. I played a mob guy too. So I
oh,
guess
it's
they're
coming,
type. I guess they're typecasting me as a mob guy.
man. Joseph when he was on the show, he he was saying that he wants to work with Robert De Niro, and then he threw it out on the show and he started talking about it. And I was like, dude, if you get to work with Robert De Niro, cut my dick off. And he goes, now 100%, I'm gonna try to go work with Robert De Niro, and then I'm gonna call you, and I'm gonna have him in front of me. And I was like, please don't do that. Like,
He's worked with De Niro.
well, he wants to do another one though, because when he
Oh,
worked with De Niro, he didn't really like hang out and whatnot,
well,
Which,
he was with De Niro in Goodfellas, which you're right. He didn't hang out
yeah,
with him.
and with
He was the
Bronx Tale.
smoker. He was this young Joe Pesci, and then
Yeah.
he worked with De Niro and analyzed that.
Yep. Yep.
And that's when he tried to kill De Niro. He was shooting at him. I think they tried to clip De Niro and analyze. And then he was with De Niro in the Bronx Tale, but he was with the Crazy Mario and those guys. I
Yeah.
worked in a movie with, and actually Joey's in the movie The Good Friday with us too, but we weren't in the same scene. And with little Crazy Mario was in there with us too. Louis Venera, he's a nice guy.
By the way,
Uh,
where's the event December 16th and the 17th? Where is it
it's
at?
in Glen Cove, the View Grill in Glen Cove.
Nice. Nice. I'll have to post that out, man. Pat, I gotta tell you, you've been awesome, man. I'd love to have you back whenever all these are done. And I'd love to have you back whenever
Thanks.
some
It
of
was
these
cool. It was
projects
cool
are.
talking to you. And one other question: you're from Missouri. You a baseball fan?
I'm a disappointment to my race in that I am not a baseball fan. I'm a
Really? I
wrestling
figured you'd be a
grappling fan.
Cardinal fan. You got Yadier Molina was a Cardinal, and he's from Puerto Rico. I figured you'd be a big
Watch,
Cardinal fan.
watch out, man. My wife is a Cardinals and a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and I'm a
Really?
Ravens fan in football. So
Well, the Cardinals to me, they're some of the best baseball fans in the world. The Cardinal fans, they're very knowledgeable, good fans. I always wanted to go to Busch Stadium years ago. They're good fans.
oh,
So
really?
you're not really a baseball, but you're a Ravens fan. That's all right. You're a football fan. I'm a Jet fan, so I'm a loser with it all the way around.
Yeah, dude. I remember last time the Ravens and the Chiefs met. I think they lost by like a point or something like that. I think. And
Mm.
my in-law texted me at like 11 o'clock at night saying, how are you doing? Are you crying in a corner? And then my wife was like, that's what you get. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it gets uppity up in here, man. It gets
Yeah, well,
uppity.
I'm happy for the Chiefs fan. They finally got a win since they haven't had a win since Len Dawson back then. This kid Patrick Mahomes is good, so I'm happy for them.
That kid's going places, man.
And I'm a Met fan. His father played for the Mets. Patrick,
Really,
yeah, his father was Pat Mahomes. Yeah,
I'd love to interview him just to talk to him to see his mindset on how he handles the pressure. Because when I see him play, I watch the games with my wife. When I see him play, it's cool and collective from what I can see. And I'm like, man, what does that guy do to
yeah, he's
keep
pretty
all
cool.
that?
He's pretty cool. Yeah. Hey, and I saw in one not to keep you over. No, we're going to end up. I saw you one of your comedy flies. You work with Terry McNeely.
Yes. I I've
he's,
worked with Terry.
he's
I've
funny.
worked
He
with
gets
Terry.
red when he's up there and he starts going off.
Bro. Terry Terry came down here to do a show, and he went drinking, and I just tagged along.
He always goes on stage with Scotch. I think he drinks a barrel of scotch before he gets up.
Bro. I he had a joke. We were driving up to an event years ago, right? And he had this joke where he was talking about how cigarettes save lives. And we were on a friend's car, and we were all smoking, and I was driving because everybody else wanted to drink. So I'm driving and we're smoking in the car, and we get to this intersection and this person just cuts me off. And I go, no, no, that's all right. Fuck me, right? Just fuck me. Fuck me. It's not like I got the right to go. Fuck me, right? And I just take a hit of my cigar and I go, all right, I feel better. And that night, Terry he goes, cigarettes and cigars save lives. I don't know if you know this, but I was driving with Rico, and I fucking look at him on stage. Rico's driving. This motherfucker just cuts him off. And Rico just goes after him with a gun. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck are you saying? And then we gave Rico a cigar. He cut it. He took a hit and he goes, all right, we good. Cigarettes save life, kids. So smoke more. Fuck what people say. And I was dude, I was dying the whole time that he's telling this fucking story. And we get in the car and I go, God damn, dude, you said that I was going to kill this motherfucker. Well, look. Like, dude,
he's
Terry's
he's
wild.
a good guy. Funny, he's a sick bastard, man. Oh
We got to
man.
get him on the show, man. He's so he keeps telling Adam
He
Gable that
smokes
we're
like a chimp. Now, I
gonna,
used to smoke 3 packs a day years ago. I quit smoking 23 years ago. But let me
bro.
tell
I
you,
had that motherfucker
I
smoking
promised
cigars.
my father when he died, I quit. I quit cold turkey. But I used to smoke 3 packs a day. And that motherfucker Terry, he smokes like a chimney, man. And he drinks scotch. I think his nose is gonna fall off one day. He drinks so much scotch.
Bro, yeah, it's wild. I thought I could drink and whatnot, but dude, when he comes here, I just give him cigars. Oh man, stop fucking smoking cigars. He still smokes them though. He still smokes, but I'll give him like some nice ass cigars and
When he
shit.
was on stage, was he getting red in the face and he's fucking going off?
Oh, bro, he goes on stage talking about he does like this Trump impression,
Yeah.
and you can see like the veins in his face, like this. And I'm just like,
He's a heavy duty Republican, man.
dude, honestly, dude, I've sat down and talked with him, and he's not even left or right. Like I had a conversation with him for like 4 hours one time. We were
uh,
talking about jokes and stuff, and he's like, I just do that because it's like it's what people like. It's like,
he's
why
going
why
against
why not?
yeah, he's going against the tide, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
that's all it is.
basically the same way. I'm right down the middle. I ain't either way either. I'm right down. I'm much for good for the country. I'm not in any of that bullshit either.
All I want to know is how the fuck are we going to solve these issues? Because it's like I was promised Back to the Future promised me flying cars. Where the fuck are my flying cars?
Well, they're gonna substitute it with electric cars.
Oh, Pat, don't start, Pat. We'd be here for another hour, my man. Don't fucking do that to me, Pat. Do not do that to me. Start talking about electrical cars in here, man. It's like I want to be able to fucking fly, or like some people say, just get a helicopter. Very valid point. However, comma slash, you can't drink and drive, not drink and drive. Let me relay that. You can't have a drink while you're on a helicopter.
All right.
I can have someone driving. I'm in the back seat and I'm having a drink, just chilling, doing my own thing. Can't do that in a helicopter. Can't smoke
Yeah.
cigars in a helicopter. There's a lot of things that you can't do. But at the same time, man, it's just about problem management, dude. And you know how it is. We'd be here forever talking about that. But Pat, I'd love to have you back sometime, man. I'd
All
love
right,
to have
man.
you
Sounds
back.
good. It was
And
great meeting you, pal.
brother,
And
I appreciate it. And stick around after this one. But dude, thank you so much for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
yeah, thank you for having me.